Good morning, all of you. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, thank you. So today we are going to start with a new topic that is on NP theory, right? So basically, this is the last topic, and it is the most advanced topic in the field of or in the domain of algorithms. So let's first understand the basic principle behind it. What is this, and why we are discussing this? This is an overview of this chapter. Okay, we'll discuss some basic. See, first of all, we are not going to discuss any algorithm in detail under this chapter. So we are actually covering only the theoretical aspect. That should be noted first. So we'll start with the basic, then we'll understand what do we mean by class P and class NP. Then we'll discuss a topic of polynomial reduction, which actually converts or which has a capability to convert any problem in class NP to class P. Then we'll discuss the another class of a problem which is called NP complete and NP hard, and then we will discuss two problem statement. We're not going to solve it, but we'll just discuss the problem statement that is called traveling salesman problem and Hamiltonian problem. And finally the approximation algorithm and conclusion. So this will be our topic of discussions for today. Now, whatever problem statement we have discussed till now, right? If you just recall what we have seen, and starting from greedy algorithms, we have seen some optimization problems, right? So, for example, a graph-related problems like minimum spanning tree, then fractional knapsack problem, then Huffman coding problem. So all these were an optimization problem in which our interest is in optimizing something. Similarly, we have also discussed the other class of a problem as well under dynamic programming technique. Something like, again, in that also most of the problem statement were optimization problem only, where we are actually interested in reducing some number or increasing some number. That number can be any measurable thing, right? There is another class of a problem which is called a decision problem. Once we have an optimization problem, so that was one class of a problem. Similarly, there is another category of problem which is called a decision problem. Now, what is decision problem? Basically, it's kind of a problem in which the answer or the result of algorithm is a binary. That means either yes or no. So what is the input? Input is a question, and what is output? Output is the answer, that is yes or no. There are only two answers, yes or no. For instance, let's say the problem statement is, are the elements of the array all different? So this is one kind of a decision problem. What we are interested in finding out whether all the elements of an array are different or not. So the answer is always binary. So it returns either 1 or 0. That means either yes or no, or true or false. So that class of a problem is called a decision problem. I hope you understood the scenario. Decision problem are those problems for which the input to the algorithm is a simple question, and output of the algorithm is a simple answer in true or false. So this kind of a problem statement are it is said to be solved using an approach which has been given by deterministic Turing machine. Now again, this is a new term for you, deterministic Turing machine. Actually, you will learn Turing machine in the next semester in under the subject of system programming. But let me give you very brief about it. Turing machine is basically a theoretical concept based on which actually our computer has been built upon, right? So there are different kind of uh, machines was in discussion when computer was not there. Machines mean something which can compute, right? So based on that theoretical principle, then evolution has happened, and finally what we have arrived is with a Turing machine. And based on that Turing machine only, actually computer is being built upon. So all the logical aspect of computers or computing or a processor actually has a theoretical base of Turing machine. There are different versions of it, but one of the fundamental version is called deterministic Turing machine. Now, it is actually corresponds to algorithms we usually define with the help of if, that means testing, or iterations, or recursions. So these are the major operations which we perform under for any algorithms, right? So that's all falls inside this category. This is a theoretical background, theoretical concept based on which we can write the algorithms, and based on which we can create a program, and we have a computer to run those programs. So this is just a brief history. Remember, we are not going in the detail of it. We are just overviewing all of these concepts. Deterministic Turing machine is actually capable of solving decision problem. That's why we are discussing these two on a one single slide. So problem is that decision problem that can be solved using decision or deterministic Turing machine. Very well known concept is called a friendship algorithm, which was actually been given by Dr. Sheldon Cooper, who was actually one of the fundamental scientists behind this concept. Now, what is that friendship algorithm? It's basically a decision problem only. Two people or two persons are interested, or they are actually starting or building a friendship between those two people. This algorithm will actually identify whether what will be the scenario, actually what will be the outcome. So let's say this algorithm first, and there is one thing which is to be observed inside this algorithm, which actually tells you that in case of decision problem, there may be the scenario. We have discussed that there are only two answers, right? Yes or no. But there may arise some situation in which arriving at the answer is not always possible. That was the case which was actually raised by this person, this scientist, Dr. Sheldon Cooper, in form of a friendship algorithm he has suggested. So it's a very simple algorithm, which this is a flowchart of that algorithm, which starts with some initial state. So what it says that you place a phone call, that means the conversion taken place between two persons. Then are you at home, something like that. So are you at home? So if the answer is yes, then the next question, would you like to share a meal? And again, that shall we dine together? If the answer is yes, then you can begin the friendship via this first dinner or a lunch. That was this path. Second path which actually can happen is something like this. If you are not home or something, like you call, then you are saying you leave a message, then you wait for a call back, and again once you receive the call, then this loop will actually execute. But what if the answer is no of this question, would you like to share a meal? If the answer is no, then you will answer another question, do you enjoy something else, so hot beverage? Okay, then again you say what is the answer. If the answer is yes, then instead of a lunch or dinner, you will go to the coffee place and you have either tea, coffee, or something like that, and you can begin the friendship in that way. But again, the answer of this question is no, right? And then you keep on asking those kind of a question. So what is else you are actually interested in? So are you interested in some recreation activities? Tell me one of your interests. So let's say you are interested in sports, something like that. Do I share that interest? That means interest of you matches with interest of me. And if answer is yes, then why don't we do that together? So you can go via that path and you can start of thinking of friendship. But again, if there is no interest common between those two people, then you ask another question, then you ask another question, then you ask another question. So then this is actually a variable, and that is actually it's kind of an infinite kind of a situation. The point Dr. Sheldon Cooper has raised was, if you don't keep a counter on this loop, right, then there is no guarantee that this algorithm will terminate. Forget about answer yes or no, but if you don't have some counter on this loop, then this algorithm will never terminate. So that was the issue was raised by this person, and it's a very well-known issue actually in the theory of NP theory, and from that perspective only actually entire NP theory was built upon. So the idea is that will decision always leads to a final state? Not necessary. And this is one of the example. If you don't put a counter on this loop, then you can't always have the answer, right? You keep on asking the questions, you keep on getting the reply as no, and this is infinite kind of a thing. So knowing whether an algorithm will reach a final state is a difficult problem. So that was actually the problem statement which was raised by this. It is actually being carry forwarded by Alan Turing. Actually, in 1930, Alan Turing has raised this issue that is called halting problem. Alan Turing actually is called founder of modern computer science, right? So he was actually and that's why the Turing machine is named as Turing. It's actually behind this person, Alan Turing. So he has proved that there does not exist any Turing machine that given a Turing machine and an input can determine if the Turing machine will finish with the input. So again, it's the same thing. You have been given algorithm and you will be given an input. There is no another algorithm which actually takes this algorithm as an input, and the other parameter is an input to the algorithm, and that algorithm can tell you whether this will terminate or not. Imagine that it's a kind of a processor where you actually give a process to execute. So consider or imagine that this is a process which you are giving some input as well, some data to that process, and then you have a processor which actually executes this process on this data and can tell you whether this algorithm or this process can be executed or not. So that kind of a scenario was there. Remember, these are the theory or concept when computers were not there. So there were no computers, so there were no processors actually in existence, and that's why they came into the existence. Okay, because the need was arised, because there were number of algorithms were always there, but there were no computers. So because of this only, and because of this theoretical background only, the computers were invented. So deterministic Turing machine is actually a Turing machine in which when you ask any question, are you sure, then there are only two answers, yes or no. But there is a notion of determinist Turing machine which is called a non-deterministic Turing machine. What this means? It means that for the same question you have two yes, and each of these yes leads to a different state of the system. So that is called in non-deterministic Turing machine. You never know that if the answer is yes, then you go to this path or this path. That was not aware, and that was non-deterministic. Deterministic means very fixed. If you ask something, are you sure, then answer is yes, then go for this path. If the answer is no, then go to this path. But if it is a non-deterministic, then for the question you have multiple yes, multiple no, and depending on that you have multiple state of the system. So with this theoretical background, let us discuss what do we mean by P problem and what do we mean by NP problem. P stands for polynomial, first of all. right? So any algorithm which we have discussed or the time complexity which we have studied are actually whatever we have discussed till now, they all falls under this category. It's a polynomial time complexity. Polynomial, you might be aware of this. It means that it's either linear, quadratic, cubic, etc. But it is not exponential. So you have a linear equation, that means tx is equal to ax plus b. You can have quadratic equation, x is equal x raised to 3 x square, right? But you don't have a time complexity in order of exponential. So any time complexity which is below exponential are actually polynomial time complexity. So that's why all recursive algorithm which we have discussed, they are not polynomial algorithms. They are actually not falls under this category. But the algorithm is which we have time complexity in form of linear, that means or big O of n, or big O of n square, or big O of n cube, or big O of n LGN, all falls under this category. And these all are called P problems. P problems means set of problems that can be solved by a deterministic Turing machine in polynomial time. Right? You know the deterministic Turing machine means that when you ask something, there are only, you have a deterministic path for your answer. If your answer is yes, then there is only one path for yes. If the answer is no, then there is only one path for no. So you have deterministic Turing machine which can execute your problem, and you have time complexity is also polynomial. So set of problems that can be solved by this deterministic Turing machine, that is called P problems. So all problem statements which we have discussed till now, majority of them falls under this category. These are the problem statement which can solved by the computers, right? Merge, sort, addition of two numbers, and there are many. There is another class of a problem which is called an NP problem. So P is polynomial here, NP doesn't means non-polynomial, right? NP stands for non-deterministic polynomial. It means that it is a set of decision problems that can be solved by non-deterministic Turing machine in polynomial time. So here you can say that time is polynomial. Polynomial means that it is actually under control. When you have a time in linear, quadratic, cubic, etc., you have a control on your execution time. But when it becomes exponential, then it becomes very difficult with respect to the size of n. If your n increases, then this is difficult to maintain and execute. So that's why this is a class of a problem for which you require a non-deterministic Turing machine to solve, but the time complexity will be polynomial. So informally, you can say NP is a set of decision problems which can be solved by a polynomial time via a lucky algorithm. It's a magical algorithm that always makes a right guess among the given set of choices. So it's like kind of a lucky algorithm. That means practically it's not existing. Okay, remember these problem statements, or these are the problems which are actually not practically executable. You cannot write the algorithm for that, or still the algorithms are not deterministic. That's why it is saying non-deterministic Turing machine. But you have done something, and because the algorithm, and because you were lucky and the algorithm was magical, that you got the answers or the right answers. But that is actually a theoretical only. You can't have it every time. So every time you will not be able to get the desired answer in this case. So that's why it is known as an NP problem, or it's kind of an unsoluble problem. For example, solving Sudoku, graph factoring, these are the problem statements which falls under this category NP problem. Remember, P is subset of NP, so you will find a problem P under NP. That means you may have some problems which are actually NP, but they are also P, right? So, and that's why we can say that NP problems are those problems which are actually problems which are solved on non-deterministic machine, but they are verifiable on deterministic Turing machine. The classical example is this. Let's say, what do we mean by solving and verifying? This Sudoku is a very well-known problem statement. So let's say you have this Sudoku, you are giving this, and the objective is to solve this. Interestingly, this is NP problem. You can't have an algorithm which can always gives you the answer of this. You may get the answer, but there is no guarantee of it every time. So that's why you require an NP kind of a machine for this, which is not practically existing. But when it comes to the verification, you can always write a simple algorithm, a straightforward P problem. This is actually a P problem. Verification is a P problem. That means you have been given this number and you have to tell whether this is a valid Sudoku numbers or not. So verification is a P problem, but solving is an NP problem. So there is great confusion between these two as well. So if you search on the internet and you will type P is equal to NP or P is not equal to NP. So this is also a very well-known research topic, whether they are same or this is just they are theoretically different. So that was about just class P and NP. P means a set of problems which are solved by deterministic machine on polynomial time, and NP means set of problems which are solved by non-deterministic machine in polynomial time. However, they are verifiable by deterministic machine in polynomial time. So that was P and NP. Now, how to deal with this NP? That is the big question, because what we are suggesting is that NP problems are not solvable. However, you may find some cases in which NP problems can be solved. So what is the purpose or what is the idea is that, is there a mechanism by which you can convert any NP problem to P problem? So NP, you are not aware of the solution, but for P, you are aware of the solution, or you already have the algorithms for that problem statement. So that is called polynomial reduction. Reduction, we know what do we mean by reduction. It means that you have been given two problems, L1 and L2. Both of them are decision problems. L2 is actually already known to you. So this is a known problem. That means you have a known method to solve it, right? So polynomial reduction means that can you reduce L1 by using some transformation function to L2? Because you know the solution to L2, if you can do this, if you can reduce L1 by using some transformation function and algorithm L2, then you can also solve L1. So then even if your L1 falls under the NP category, if it is being reduced to L2, which is actually falls into the P category, then your L1 will also become a P problem. So that is the idea. And what scientists are doing, they are actually trying to reduce all the problems in NP to P. So basically they are interested in making this equal, right? But for that you require some mechanism, and that is being theoretically supported by a method called polynomial reduction. So this graph, you can easily understand that you have these algorithms. So basically L1 is a problem statement. You have an algorithm for L1. So this is a white box, right? So this is rectangle box is your actually algorithm for L1. So you are giving some input to L1, that is X, and because it's a decision problem, the answer is yes or no for L1. But L1 is actually non-deterministic, it's an NP problem. So we don't know the algorithm for that. So what we are interested in, can we reduce L1 to L2, where L2 is actually already known to you. So what we are doing, we are using some transformation function. So transform function f, that will change your x to fx. X is your actual input. Now your transformation function has converted to fx. Fx will be given as an input to L2. L2 is actually P problem. So you can always have an answer, a deterministic answer. So that will also give you the answer for L2. Again, you can have some transformation function on that, and you can get the actual answer for L1. So this is the notion of polynomial reduction. In short, what we can say, reduce a new unsolved problem to already solved a problem. Already solved means a P problem, unsolved means a 9P problem. So that's what it means. Now, based on this concept of P and NP, two more classes are derived, that is called NP complete and NP hard. So now let us discuss or try to understand what it is. NP complete, actually this figure is important and you must understand this figure. You have an NP class which is being given by this circle. P is a subset of NP, so obviously P falls under NP. You have another class NP hard and you have an intersection of both, that is NP complete, right? So let's try to understand what it means. NP complete problem means it's actually the hardest problem in NP set. Hardest means that it is assumed that it cannot be reduced to P. It will remain NP. That's why in that terms it is hardest. A decision problem L is NP complete problem if, this is the definition of NP complete, if L is in NP, obviously L has to be an NP problem. That means any given solution for NP complete problem can be verified quickly, but there is no efficient method to solve the actual problem. So L is actually an NP problem, and second condition is that every other problem in NP is reducible to L in polynomial time. That means there is always a guarantee that all other problem in this NP class are reducible to NP complete. If your L falls under this category of a problem, then it is called an NP complete problem. Why this concept is introduced, or why this theoretical imagination? It is basically a theoretical foundation for the concept where if we can solve this NP complete problem, then we can solve any NP problem in polynomial time. So for example, a vertex cover problem, set Boolean satisfied problem, traveling salesman problem, all these falls under this category called NP complete problem. In short, what we can understood is that NP complete are basically, it has two property. First property, it is an NP problem. That means it's not a P problem, it's an NP problem. And second, all other problems in NP category are reducible to this problem L. So in that case, your L is actually an NP complete problem. Second class of a problem is called NP hard problem. Again, NP hard problem also has two properties. Sorry, it has only one property, and that property is the second one. It follows the second property. What it says, every other problem in NP is reducible to L in polynomial time, but not necessary it to be an NP problem. So L is in NP. That was the first case, or the first condition for NP complete is not required in the second case. So that is called an NP hard problem. The example for that is Turing halting problem. So these all are different, and there is so much of research going on solving these all problem statements. Remember, these all are unsolved problem. So till today you don't have a solution. You will file some solutions to this problem, but they are not NP solution. They all are NP solution. That means non-deterministic solutions. So let's just quickly understand what is traveling. As the name suggests, it's a very well-known problem statement called traveling salesman problem. What we have is a setup. Setup is that you have a salesman, a traveling salesman, which travels between multiple cities, and the salesman has to visit each one of the cities starting from a certain one. That means it will start from the one city, it will return to the same city, but during its journey it has to travel each of the cities. The challenge is that traveling salesman wants to minimize the total length of the trip. So let's say you have these A, B, C, D, E, 5 cities. The problem lies in finding the minimal path passing from all vertices once. So at least you should pass to that through that vertex once. You start with some point, you can pass to that vertex at least once, and your resultant uh, path length should be minimum. That is the problem statement. So let's say for this case also you have two path, and for one it is 24, second it is 31. You may argue that you can find this using this, but it's again, it's not a polynomial, it's NP problem. It's a non-deterministic. You require a non-deterministic Turing machine to solve this, and that's why it comes under this category of NP complete problem. Second of such problem is Hamiltonian problem. In traveling salesman problem, the condition was you should visit each vertex at least once. In Hamiltonian problem or Hamiltonian cycle, you should visit the vertex exactly once, not at least, but exactly once. So basically it's a problem in which problem of determining whether Hamiltonian path exists in a graph. So you have been given a graph. Can you find out a path in which you will be able to traverse each vertex by visiting them exactly once? It is not always possible for every graph, remember, right? It may be possible for some graph, it may not be possible for other graph. So you have been given a graph, and the objective is to say or to ask whether Hamiltonian path exists in this graph. So again, this is a decision problem. What is the question? Question is Hamiltonian path exists for this graph or not? So the answer can be yes or no. This is also an NP complete problem. So that was about just a simple brief of the idea of what do we mean by NP complete problem. There is one more topic which is actually associated with NP hard problem, which is called an approximation algorithm. As the name suggests, approximation. Approximation means you are not actually, because you are not having a method to find out the exact solutions, let's try to find out the approximate solution. So that's why this algorithm became popular to solve this kind of a problem, which are actually unsolved problem. So it is an algorithm used to find out the approximate solutions to optimization problem. This problem can be, it can be P, it can be NP hard, it can be NP complete as well. It's a generic algorithms. So it returns a solution to combinational optimization problem that is probably close to the optimal solution, right? But not always guaranteed that you will have an optimal solution. It is often associated with NP hard problem. The reason for that, when you are going for this transformation function here, when you are reducing it to something else, this transformation may not give you always the accuracy of the results, right? But you are actually interested in finding out the results rather than worried about its accuracy. You may have some deviation, and that deviation is acceptable to you, then you can always go for approximation algorithm to solve this kind of a problem. So finally, I conclude with this slide, which actually gives you the idea about what is it. We have discussed major 4 class of a problem. One is a P. P is a class of problem which you are actually studying throughout this course, right? These are the problem statements which are solved in polynomial time on deterministic machine. And again, not just solution, you can also verify it on polynomial time in deterministic machine. There is another class of a problem which is called an NP problem, which are also solved in polynomial time, but for that you require non-deterministic machine. Non-deterministic in simple means you can say that you don't have actually the solution, you don't have exact method of solving that. So you can say that these are the unsolved problem. Practically, you will not get the idea, or you are not actually aware of how to solve that. So it's a kind of an unsolved problem. you have the solution, but in that case you don't have this polynomial time. It will take infinite time to solve. So practically, when you say that it takes infinite time to solve, it means that it is unsolved, right? So that's what it means. But however, it can be verified in polynomial time on deterministic machine. So that class of a problem is called NP problem. Then NP problem are further divided in this two category. I should not say they are further divided it, because NP hard may be outside NP as well. So let's take it as a third category only. So that is called NP complete problem. What is that NP complete? NP complete means that it's a problem R is NP complete if R falls under this category, and second, every other problem in this category are reducible to R. So that's why if that is the case, then R can be said as an NP complete problem. Why this exists? This exists with a hope that if we can solve this problem R, and because every other problems are reducible to R, we can always solve any problem statement if we have a solution to this problem statement. So if we can solve this problem in polynomial time, then we can solve any problem. Then there will be no NP actually, practically, right? Then all problems will be fall under this category if we have a solution to NP complete. And that's why it's considered to be the most difficult NP problem. The reference is universal Turing machine. Then the last category of problem statement is called NP hard problem. NP hard problem is, again, it's a hardest problem in NP, but not necessary that it's always an NP problem, right? But the second categories or second case is always apply. What is that? That all problems in NP are reduced to polynomial time in problem X, then X is NP hard. So only difference between these two is this line. R is in NP here. R is not necessarily to be in NP. Right, so that is the only difference between these two categories. So you should remember this in general. You should also remember this figure as well. Okay, this gives you the clear idea about what is NP hard, complete, etc. And okay, that's it for this chapter. I think as I told you, it's basically a theoretical concept which I want to just have a glimpse upon it. From exam perspective, you may say that you should have a conceptual clarity on all this, or you may ask to explain what is traveling salesman problem or what is Hamiltonian problem. But just explanation, no solution, because there doesn't exist the solution to these problems. Right? So that's it. So with this, actually, we have a closure of our discussion on my portion. From my portion, the whatever topic I was supposed to cover is over. So in the next class or in the next session, we will be having a discussion on your doubts. So on Tuesday, we'll have a session, theoretical session, in which I will be you can raise your doubts for anything from the entire subject. You can have your queries, something which you cannot understand and something which you want that I should spare some time on that, or I should discuss more on that. So that we will have in the next session. Regarding your labs and practical, actually we have not covered or any session or specific session with respect to lab, because it was assumed that almost all the algorithms are discussed in the theory, and it is just the matter of writing a programs for that. So I hope that you are in sync with the lab as well, but still you are supposed to prepare a file, and I don't know about the physical availability of your or your presence about at the institute, but at least you can start preparing your file, or you should be ready with your file for the practicals as well. In file you are supposed to write two things major. First, because all of the problem statements are actually belong to some algorithms, so the first thing you should write is an algorithm. Second thing you should write is computing time and space complexity, so this should be written. And third thing is your program which you have written for that algorithm, so that you can print or that you can just put a soft copy for that as well. So let's say if you are writing for merge sort, then you should write the merge sort algorithm. You should calculate the time complexity of merge sort, and a program of merge sort can be in soft copy. So whatever code you have, you can just simply take a print, or you can make a Word document and then you can attach it, right? So that was about the lab sessions or lab practicals. So still, if you have any doubt regarding the labs as well, you can discuss it with me in person. So that's it for today. In the next week, right, for both the sessions on Tuesday as well as on the Saturday, we'll be having a session. I will be there at time, uh, but you should come with your doubts as well, right? And if I will see the question papers as well, if there is something which is to be discussed uh, with all of you, irrespective of your doubt, then also we can discuss that as well. So that's it for today.